Hey, I'm Dr. Sebastian Gonzalez from Performance Place Sports Care. Today we're going over a video that's correlated to an article I wrote for bodybuilding.com on threshold training, functional capacity, and functional gap. Now, the reason why you're going to want to pay attention to this video and read the correlative article is because you are going to want to know how you can prevent injuries and also how you can keep better form longer. You know all those times where you have knee cave when you're squatting, or you have hip drop when you're running, or when you're doing high intensity training and your body starts to fall apart and you're just kind of like a puddle of mud at the very bottom of the gym by the time you're done, and your form was just crap when you got there. This is going to address that. Threshold training can help you get better form and hold off neuromuscular fatigue longer. Now you might be wondering, what's the neuromuscular system? The neurological system is the part of the body that has the brain, the wiring, and the nerves. The muscular system is, I would consider it as joints, tendons, ligaments, muscles, and so on. So just think about the entire system as the neuromuscular system. As this thing starts to fall apart, so does our form, and then injuries start to happen. So for the remainder of this, let's go over the graph. So now with this, I wrote out two different scenarios, okay? The first scenario is someone who performs really poorly, and this is someone who has better form for longer, okay? I gave them roughly the same rep scheme, so this is 20 reps, this is 0 reps, and by the way, we can change the reps into weight, we can change it to speed, we can change it with duration. There's a lot of different ways that we can affect the speed at which the body's neuromuscular system starts to fall apart. And that's kind of the beauty of threshold training, is it's very individualized for what you want to do. Now, this person who doesn't perform extremely well, so they only have the ability to have really good form for 5 reps. They have poor form for 15 reps, but they still went 20 reps. The top part here is what we call absolute failure. That's where they're actually falling apart. They're that puddle of mud or sweat on the ground, and that's where their body has no more gas to go on any further. You kind of get my point here, right? So this threshold, this line right here, past the 5 reps for this individual, is the point where they still have gas to go, but their form is starting to fall apart, and we start to develop compensation patterns, okay? The reason why this is significant for injuries is because when our body compensates, we start to overload tissues, tendons, joints, bones that aren't really supposed to have that amount of load on it. But if we keep pushing, then we're going to run into this range where kind of like our compensation pattern becomes our norm. And that's why it's so hard to get away from these odd compensation patterns, the knee cave, the hip drop, the arching when you're benching, all these things that you see people do and how they move so oddly, yet it feels normal to them. That is because they've been training their gap a lot, okay? So now let's go on to the better person here. And by the way, if you're this person, you can become this person, but it takes training, okay? And I'll explain that in a second here. So the better person here, if we're talking about reps, they have 15 reps that are good, and they have 5 reps that are bad in their functional gap. Before I go on, functional capacity is this realm right here. It's good reps or good form, okay? There's absolutely no room for breakage of form with this, okay? Once a form issue comes up or compensation pattern comes up, you're in your gap, okay? Functional gap is where we have bad reps, but you still have gas. Absolute failure is the cap right there. It's when you're falling on the ground and you have nothing left, okay? Threshold is the line. It's the point to where good rep becomes compensated reps, okay? So this person can go 15 reps really well, but 5 reps poorly. So I would rather be this person because this person has less potential of injury. Now, can we use different metrics on this? Can we say 20 miles for runners? Sure we can. In this case, we say 15 miles are good, 5 are poor, 5 are bad, 15 are poor. At the very termination of the entire 20 miles, everyone's going to breakfast having coffee, okay? This is your typical Saturday run for a lot of people. They are stuck with the group at that certain pace that they want to hang with, so they end up getting into their ranges a little bit quicker because now pace or speed is partially an issue. So what we're looking to do with threshold training is we're looking for this person to kind of flirt with the line there, I like to call it. So we have 5 reps is where they start to lose form, but perhaps perhaps we insert a coach right here who brings them aware via external cueing to get them to have better form now this far. So say we have 7 reps there now, okay? Perhaps they couldn't do it for longer, but that doesn't mean they can't flirt with this line later and up it again, okay? What we're trying to do is build a longer period where you have good reps and we're cutting these things down, okay? That is the beauty of threshold training. Now, the concept is not something I came up with. We are going to have a podcast correlated with this as well. You can go to p2sportscare.com/podcast/pound62, and that's going to be with Richard Ulm, who is the doctor who I got the concept from, and I thought it was a groundbreaking, just mind-blowing presentation you did. I thought it was amazing. Now, if you still have questions on this, you need to read the correlated article at bodybuilding.com, and if you're not watching this video on bodybuilding.com, just click the link below. I'll have it down there and you can access it really quickly. But I think combining this video, the podcast, and the article, you're going to understand I need to start looking for my threshold. I need to understand where my cues fall, or where my form falls apart, and perhaps my training partner or my coach or my trainer can start pointing these things out to me, because I don't want to be this person, okay? You want to be this one every day of the week, okay? Right there. If you have questions for me, go to p2sportscare.com. I'm open to any questions that you have. And subscribe to the podcast and the YouTube channel. We have tons of videos like this and tons of great topics like this on the podcast. Check on to iTunes, p2sportscare.com. Talk to you guys soon.